So I know this movie's been out for quite some time now, about a few weeks by this point, but I saw Ghost in the Shell a while ago with my friend Matt, and Matt loved it. I didn't love it. And I've been thinking about this movie quite a bit lately just because there's so many thoughts I have on it, and considering the fact that a ton of people for whatever reason want to hear my thoughts on this movie, I figured I might as well, tell you my thoughts on the movie. And even though I don't have many positives for this movie, I will tell you the best part of this entire movie is actually whenever they say the title of the film in the first 5 minutes. The opening is gorgeous to this movie, but whenever they say the title, that's how you know you're getting some good. So that's it, huh? We some kind of ghost in the shell? It's not that bad, but you basically get the idea. Hi, I'm Jacob Suggs, and welcome back to another video. Now, a few weeks ago I made a new series called The Fundamental Problem, and I guess it's kind of going to be an off and on series whenever I have a movie that I want to rant or vent about to you guys. Because whenever I have a problem with a movie, it doesn't turn into a movie review, it turns into a rant, and frankly, I just like ranting. So I figured I might as well just talk about this movie with you now, in the form of a fundamental problem video rather than a movie review. So I saw Ghost in the Shell a while ago with my friend Matt, and I'm not gonna lie, I swear, this is the only time you will ever hear me say this in a sentence. I'm a fan of the anime! Yeah, I couldn't watch it when I was a kid because, the cover art for the anime is quite, interesting to say the least. But I watched it in high school, and I really liked it, really enjoyed it, and thought it was just a really well-done anime. And so whenever I heard they were doing a live-action Ghost in the Shell film, I got excited because I actually liked that anime. And then I saw the movie, and it was really, really mediocre. This is not a bad movie. I have seen so many bad movies in my life. There are good things in this movie. For example, all of the performances in this movie are honestly pretty spot on, especially Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson did a really, really, really good job in this movie, and frankly, I think that saying this is whitewashing is cutting her short a little bit. Do I believe whitewashing is a problem? Yes. Do I think it's as big of a problem that people are making it out to be? No. And I can tell you right now, after seeing this movie is not whitewashing. I can 100% confirm that. But if you think her character is still being whitewashed, just watch the movie. It makes more sense in the context of the film, and I think you'll get a better understanding. So what didn't I like about Ghost in the Shell? Well, I'm glad you asked, because that's kind of the main point for this video. I'm just going to go ahead and say it because this is the prime thing that I found as the fundamental issue with this movie. It's just boring. There's good exposition scenes in this movie, and there's good action scenes in this movie, but the problem is, I had no desire to watch it. In complete honesty, guys, I was sitting there looking at my watch, wondering if I had time to go to the bathroom and then come back before the movie ended, and typically when I'm in that kind of state of mind, that's not a good thing when it comes to me watching a movie. In the anime, Ghost in the Shell has some really rich, bright colors that make the city kind of come to life and feel unique and special. And even in those dark, gritty moments, there's still glimpses of hope and fun and excitement and intrigue that make you want to watch the fight scenes and want to know more about the characters. But this movie didn't do that for me. This movie was just kind of a mixed bag, if you will. Because if you've seen the trailers for this movie, you know that it looks like a colorful movie, but aside from the city, which I thought was really unique and really, well designed, I think that, for the most part, this movie is pretty gray and drab. In all honesty, nothing stands out to me. Visually, it was a very boring film. I get that it's supposed to be mechanical and gray and dark and gritty at times, but you can make a dark and gritty, visually stunning film. For all of his problems, Zack Snyder knows how to make a visually stunning film that can be dark and gritty. Have you seen Watchmen? Have you seen Man of Steel? Have you seen Batman vs. Superman? The problem is with Ghost in the Shell is that even though it's a dark, gritty, complex, and very serious film, it doesn't recognize that it's taking from an anime. And I was wondering throughout watching Ghost in the Shell what movie it was reminding me of, because I had a similar experience not too long ago with my friend Matt. And I feel like this movie is much like Assassin's Creed in that it takes itself way too seriously and focuses so much on the exposition that the movie just becomes exposition. Because in both of those movies, They were just boring, and I remember not being captivated by the action sequences when I should have been. I'm a fan of Ghost in the Shell, the anime. I'm a fan of Assassin's Creed, the games. But for some reason, when they translated it to film, it just didn't work in my opinion. I felt like the characterization was really well done in this movie, but the problem with it is that we're just thrown exposition scene after exposition scene, so we don't really care when something happens to them. I'll put it this way, action without purpose is just meaningless action, right? But can action have too much purpose to where the purpose overtakes the action? Absolutely, and I think this is a prime example of that. And don't get me wrong, I know I'm saying a lot of negative things now, but I wanted to love this movie because I really love the anime. The anime has a lot of complex themes to it that I really appreciate and deconstructs a lot of stuff about sociology and physiology and stuff like that. But this movie does it way too much and just takes away some of the fun that the anime had. Because the anime knew how to balance out exposition and action, this movie just is all exposition. There was not one action scene except for the one at the beginning that I was captivated by. But because I had no context for that action scene, it just felt meaningless to me because I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on. Later on you do get that context, but I should have had context beforehand. And if you don't think that can be done, well, let's talk about Mission Impossible for a minute. The majority of those films start out with a pretty action-heavy, intense, edge-of-your-seat, action scene, but they intrigue us enough and give us enough context to where we know who's good, who's bad, what's going on, what they're trying to get. It all adds up. This movie just sits you down in the chair and expects you to have seen the anime, and if you've seen it, it's going to make a little bit more sense, I guess, or a lot more sense, depending if you have seen it. But even then, it's been a long time since I've seen the anime, so I was really lost during that opening action scene. Granted, I kind of got the good-bad complex and what was going on, but it was a while for me to comprehend exactly what was happening on screen. Now, I will say this, I did think the score for this movie was really well done. It reminded me a lot of like Daft Punk and like the little like techno beats that they've got going for like stuff like Tron Legacy. So I thought the soundtrack was really cool and techno and futuristic and fit very well into this world. But like I said, unfortunately, you've seen the best shots in the trailer already. And even the posters surprisingly make this movie look way more colorful than it actually is. The most visually stunning place, as I previously said, was the city, but that's only in the movie for a minute period of time. Most of the time they're trying to find out what's going on with this guy, what he's trying to do, why he's hacking into all of these things, but it's in like dark areas of town like a strip club or bar or sewer. And there are good things in this movie, but unfortunately, I think there's more things that I disliked about this movie than I actually liked. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, I was just kind of bored watching this movie. But don't let me stop you. If you want to see this movie, go see Ghost in the Shell, because Matt wanted to see it, he was really excited for it, hasn't seen the anime, and Matt really liked it. So if somebody can go in completely blind and still enjoy it, that's awesome. So you might still like this movie. So if you want to see this movie, don't let me stop you. I'm just saying, for me, I found it really boring and dull and uninteresting, and the characters were good, but there's too much characterization and exposition to begin with. And if you are a 100% massive fan of Ghost in the Shell, I honestly feel like you're really going to enjoy this movie. But those are the fundamental problems that I had with Ghost in the Shell, and I don't know if you could recognize them too, but that's what I thought of the movie. That being said, what did you guys think of Ghost in the Shell? Did you love it? Did you not like it? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, I'm FrameByFrame. Remember the name, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.